This is the Sell Your Brand Show with James Bray and Mike Killen, the one-stop shop for creative solopreneurs and startups to get the best practical advice on how to build, how to brand, and how to sell online products and content. Let's get to it.
Hey there guys, I'm Mike from Sell Your Service.
And this is James from Brand Snack.
And welcome to the Sell Your Brand Show. Today, on episode 35, we are talking about how to decide a price for absolutely anything. How does that sound?
All right.
Overwhelming enthusiasm. Overwhelming enthusiasm there. That's incredible. How are you doing, James?
I'm really good, mate.
Yeah?
I'm really good, yeah. I was
Tell your face that.
I was driving to your house today.
Yeah.
For the podcast.
Yeah.
And I was driving along and this really annoying noise started happening in my car. It was just literally going bing, bing, bing. And I was like, that's really, really annoying.
Yeah.
And I looked down and it was the passenger seatbelt sign and it kept going off and I'm like, well, of course it's not done up.
Yeah.
There's no one
There's
in
no
the
one in the car.
because I'm the only one in here. And it done it for the whole 25 minutes.
Did you have a seat? Anything on the back seat?
No.
Nothing at all?
No.
Fuck.
And it's just going off. And I was like, why are you doing this?
That'd do my head in.
25 minutes of ding.
I've noticed sometimes if I put my bag on my front seat, it'd be like, passengers unclipped. I'm like, it's a fucking laptop. How does that weigh as much as a person?
Yeah, what sort of people do you sit in my car?
Yeah. That is proper annoying.
So yeah, that was
that set you up for the day ahead.
It did, yeah. It made me real chipper.
Yeah.
Is what it done.
Yeah. At first, when you said you were listening to an incredibly annoying noise on the car journal, I was like, is he listening to one of our podcasts?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
he's going over the edited
drone.
Yeah.
How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, man. Yeah, all gravy. Just kind of cracking on with work, and Beaver Funnels, by the time this comes out, could be in like a public beta stage.
Okay.
Where our founders have got access to it, so we're happy with that. For those who don't know, it's a piece of software that we're developing, or a plugin, I should say. It looks very, very cool. I've had a play around with it, and I'm crazy excited. So
nice. Yeah,
I've got to put together a lot of the processes and stuff and formulas and start getting that out towards joint venture partners and affiliates and stuff. So yeah, very exciting, man.
That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
On that note, we wanted to talk about pricing today. So pricing is a huge roadblock for many entrepreneurs. Now, in this particular episode, we're not going to be focusing on course builders or funnel builders or software or services or products. It's just talking about price in general. I think we have a lot of hang-ups about money and costs. We think that customers are going to say, oh, you're too expensive, or your competition will say, oh, that's too expensive, you know? And I think in this episode, we want to cover pricing, how to determine your price, which is a big one.
Yeah.
Pricing profitably, but which weirdly people kind of think about as like, they don't think of it first, which is always interesting to me.
Yeah.
And charging higher prices as well, if you increase your prices, all without scaring off your customers, and being rejected and losing sales, because I think that's kind of the dynamic.
You know what? All of that sounds really good to me, Mike.
Does it?
Yeah, I'm up
Should we go back and start the fucking episode again then? Yeah. Yes. Unbelievable. Flip-flop. That's what it is. Wishy-washy.
You know what? No, I think it's such an important thing because pricing can do people's heads in, and I know it's done mine in. When I'm thinking about, okay, what sort of price point should I be putting my products and services out there for? And then you think about price, you think, oh, it'd be amazing to charge that. Yeah. And then suddenly you start backtracking, thinking, people aren't going to pay that.
Yeah.
But then that's your fears more so than anything actual factual and concrete.
Yep.
So, I think this will help a lot of people out there.
So I think the point I want to start on with this, and I might have even mentioned it before, is that you can buy a chocolate anus.
Oh yeah, we've done. Yeah, you've told us.
We've talked about this before.
We have.
Right?
You keep going back to it.
God, I'm obsessed with it, mate. Email marketing, talk about the chocolate anus. Landing pages, talk about the chocolate anus. Just any time I can, right?
Your cupboard's full of them.
Exactly. Right. And the problem I have with people who go, oh, I don't know if someone would pay that, for my product. Somewhere out there, people are paying good money for literally a chocolate arsehole. Your product is probably more helpful than that. and therefore you shouldn't worry about what people perceive as valuable or what they want to charge for.
Yeah, it's quite expensive, the chocolate anus, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's ludicrously expensive. That's even the worst point about it. If it was even just regular chocolate, it would still be expensive.
Yeah.
Somehow you've made it less desirable, right? But you're still charging more for it. So, and the problem we have about price is there's a lot of things, no matter what product you give or create, because I'm a firm believer that we all create multiple products. Some of them might be service-based or product-based or process-based or turnkey-based or whatever it is.
Yep.
For typically the same customers. So for us to say, how to charge just for your course, I don't really want to talk about that because I want to talk about where you should be setting your prices. And the exercise that we give first for a lot of our customers for everything, bearing in mind we help people create a lot of courses, we help people sell marketing funnels, we help people sell their other types of products like books or coaching and things like this.
Yeah.
How much do you want to make per customer?
Yeah.
Now that to me actually is the most important part to start with, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, definitely. And if you don't know that, then you can't base anything else from that.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're just kind of hitting and hoping.
Yeah.
There's no kind of strategy behind it.
Yeah, and I think the problem is that people, when they're faced with it, they go, well, I don't know how much I want to make. And I go, right, well, that's not the customer's fault. It's not the price's fault. That's your fault. You have to know how much before you've thought, and this is, I should be more clarify, before you decide what you're going to give, before you decide what you're going to build, what you're going to be, what you're going to do, and what you're going to deliver, and all this kind of stuff, decide how much you want to make per customer.
$1 million.
Well, you joke. We have a customer say that to us. And I was like, okay, that's fine. If you want to make $1 million per customer, the next question you have to ask is, what are you going to deliver to them to justify $1 million?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they go, oh, right. Oh, I didn't realize you were going to be doing it like that. I was like, what?
Well, yeah,
creating a product?
Yeah, I didn't realize you were actually serious about.
Well, if you want to make $1 million per customer, fine.
Yeah, fine. But how are you going to
What are you going to deliver for that $1 million? For example, a lot of our guys, they say, I want to make $100,000 a year. I want my business to turn over $100,000 a year. Great. Is that one $100,000 product or 10 $10,000 products?
Yep.
Or 100 $1,000 products? What is it that you are going to create in order to justify the money that you want to make?
Yep.
So I believe we have to start there to think about, okay, well, I want to make $25,000 per customer or $1,500 per customer. Great. How much, what do I need to deliver to justify that price? And that's actually the first thing to think about with pricing. Decide the price first,
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's really, really important because then that will kick you off on the right direction of how much value and you're going to give in your product or in your service. Because
a lot of people, what they do, and I get this a lot, is they'll say, okay, we deliver, let's take funnels, for example, and marketing services. They say we do their email, we do their website, we do their landing pages, we do some copy, and we do this, that, and the other. And they're like, how much should I charge for that? And I'm like, okay, well, how much is a house? Like, all you've done is given me the specifics. You haven't actually told me what I get out of it. Rather than thinking, I want to deliver a course with 6 modules and 6 lessons per module, and in total it's 36 hours worth of content or 6 hours worth of content or whatever it is. How much should I charge for it? I'm like, that's the wrong thing. You should be thinking, I want to make $1,497 per customer. What am I going to deliver for that? So flip that from we have all of these things, this is how much it costs, to this is how much money I want to make and this is what we're going to deliver. Because what it does is it forces you to think, can I actually deliver? Interestingly, what a lot of our guys find is they say $25,000. I go, cool, let's list out everything we could do. And they go, oh, well, I don't think I actually can deliver all this stuff for $25,000. Putting a limit on how much the customer has and working backwards into what you can deliver forces people to cut things out, which is good because it increases profitability and margin, Yeah,
definitely. And I think that when you're thinking about what you can deliver, it's thinking about what value you add to your customer, what 100%. Results that they get from it.
Yep.
There was an example, I think I've said it before, of a design agency that created an advert for a company.
Yeah.
And they charged a one-off fee for this creative. I think it was, I don't know, probably something like 15 grand or something, which at the time I thought, that's decent money.
Really decent, yeah.
And this company then went on to use that and made millions.
Yeah, yeah.
So in that grand scheme of things, you've just made that company millions, but you've only got 15 grand out of it.
Absolutely.
So that doesn't make sense. There's something off there.
Yeah.
So you need to think about the real value that you're actually adding to your customer.
Yeah.
And the benefit that they're going to get from it. Don't worry about the bricks and mortar of what you're delivering. That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's down to what result are they going to get out of it? Are they going to get, I don't know, 10 times the amount of profit from whatever you're giving them? If so, surely you should be taking a cut of that, a percentage cut of that.
Which is why this is where knowing this kind of stuff helps you in the argument where a lot of the stuff that we're posting online at the moment, people are like, I would never charge more than $500 for a WordPress site. And bearing in mind, a marketing funnel isn't even a full website. It's just a very specific series of pages.
Yep.
So it doesn't even have a full website. And people go, oh, well, I think it's disgraceful that you're telling people you should charge $25,000 for this. I go, okay, how much money does your business want to make? If you want to make $250,000 a year, $25,000 is an incredible investment to get 10x on that.
Yeah.
That'd be mental. If I could guarantee that for every single customer, I would never need to work again.
Yep.
Right? And then you have customers come in, they go, oh, well, I've got a budget of $500. I'm like, okay, well, I can probably make you $500 with that. Like, what do you want me to do with $500? That's nothing. I can't do anything with that. Having said that, a course that we went on, it was out in Phoenix. This is last year. That cost $10,000 for me to go on. It was a 2-day course, and it paid for itself almost immediately. The information and the insight I got from it was just overwhelming. It was absolutely incredible.
Right.
It was worth every single penny to be able to do it. I wanted to do it this February as well, but unfortunately we're not going to be around. So yeah, it's absolutely about what they get in return.
Yeah.
Like
and
you
what
said,
it allows them to achieve.
yeah.
From that.
It's just why kind of coaching and courses people should be charging more for.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the books that I've read have probably paid over in dividends and bonuses of how much I've learned from them.
Yeah.
I can literally measure it in some of the apps that I've got just from reading an $11.99 book and spending 6 hours or 8 hours reading it. So yeah, if your course is able to help someone find more customers, make more sales, increase a conversion rate, even increasing a conversion rate by 1%, if you're currently making a 1% conversion rate and it's, you get 10 grand per customer and you increase that conversion rate by another 1% to 2%, that's another 10 grand.
Yeah.
I'd pay that.
Yeah.
I'd pay 2 grand to learn how to do that.
Well, that's it. That means you've got up to a limit of 10 grand.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, yeah.
For that product.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think that's the first step that people need to really sit down and think about is how much value and the results they're adding to their customers.
Yeah. So what we do is we do this exercise. I think we've talked about it before, called the 25K drop.
Yeah.
Right? Where I say, I'm going to put 25 grand into your account. I don't care how much you want to charge, or if you are making, a little $50 widget, or if you're making $100,000, telco service. I'm going to put a bunch of money into your account that is a crazy amount of money. And usually we start for most of our customers around $25,000 because that would be the high end of their service.
Yep.
If you're already charging that, times it by 10, basically. I'm going to put $250,000 into your account. Tell me what you're going to get and list all of that out. Okay, list out everything they get. So yeah, they get access to them. They get their own personal website, they get personal coaching. They get their blog content written for them, their emails, their automation, all this kind of stuff, right? Assuming that will turn into more than $250,000 worth of value.
Yep.
Doesn't have to be sales. A lot of people pay a lot of money for motivation or clarity.
Yeah.
Or just knowledge and insight so they can do something better.
Yeah.
Or saving time. There's tons of different benefits. What you should do is write out everything you can deliver for $25,000, and then think, okay, well, what would I deliver for $10,000? And scale it back and use that same list and go, well, I wouldn't be able to offer this, for example. I wouldn't be able to offer one-on-one coaching, and they wouldn't get my personal number. They would maybe just get an email address and part of a support desk,
Yep.
and work it backwards like that, and then think, well, what would they get for $5,000 or $3,000 or $1,000 or $100 a month or $19 or $9? And by working it back like that, what you find is you naturally build a sales funnel for a start. But also, it again puts into perspective that people who don't have the money can still get help from you, but it might not necessarily be the exact same product.
Yeah.
You know?
You're still delivering this along the same lines of value.
Yeah. You're helping get the same results.
Yeah.
The book is $11.99. If I want to learn how to completely run a property empire, though, I'll happily pay 10 grand.
Yeah.
It's just, it helps me get that result faster and with, and easier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. And usually the less you pay, the more work you're going to have to put into it off your own back.
Absolutely. There's like that, it's like a sliding scale.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And the more you pay, the more the work is done for you. And you don't need to worry about it.
Absolutely.
Like if you spend I don't know, a tenner on a book that teaches you how to design websites. Fine, you could learn exactly how to do it and then you go off and you do it. But that's a lot of time off your own back. Or you pay 25 grand to have that designed and completely done
someone
for
else
you.
taking care of it for you.
It'll be done within a couple of weeks. But you've paid for that, but then it's all done to that professional standard.
Absolutely.
So it's all about weighing up time and money and the amount of effort your customer puts in and you put in. And that's how your prices kind of balance and leverage.
And there's an element of like the turnkey service. For example, one of our courses, which in January we'll be shifting the price of, you won't be getting one-on-one coaching with anymore. It will just be the course. That's it, just the course. And I know that I can sell one of those a day. I could sell 1 million of them a day. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change the delivery process for me because a lot of the emphasis is on them going through it and working through it, right?
Yeah.
But on the other side, our more expensive coaching program, which is about 2.5 grand, that you get live calls every single week. You get access to me and stuff like this. So that sliding scale also ultimately delivers the same thing. But like you say, the amount of effort that's on one to the other, I'm not obliged to offer anything. And there's an element of the more people who join the coaching program, it becomes more difficult for me to manage. So there's a turnkey level of what you can do as well. You don't run out of ebooks. But you can also charge less for them,
Yeah, exactly. And that's why, especially when it's something that you have to put effort into, and you can only deliver that to a certain capacity, then you need to match the price to that. Because if you're giving that away too cheaply, you're going to be overwhelmed with the amount of people coming into it, and you won't be able to deliver the amount of quality and value to everyone.
Well, there's so this kind of goes into. We could stop. To be honest, we could stop the podcast after this point.
Fine.
You want to work out your. Just put in some static.
That's it.
You should be charging costs times 3.
Okay.
Whatever it costs you, times it by 3. That's roughly the price to the customer. The problem with that formula is that it's so simplistic. People think they need to overcomplicate it. No, it's pretty much costs times 3. So here's what we tend to do, right? I'll say, right, I want to charge 25 grand for this thing. Doesn't matter what it is. What am I going to deliver for that? Well, they'll get a website, some coaching and support for a year, something like that. Cool. How much will it cost me to get someone to do that website? How much will it cost me to get someone to do that support? Now, using the cost times 3 method, really quick, simple maths. So that's what, roughly 7.5, 8 grand I've got to build the website and deliver the support. So all of a sudden that puts into perspective what I've got available to me in order to make it profitable for me. So I could pay someone 8 grand. Now, I could pay someone for a month just to work fully employed in my employ, or for 2 months. I'll say, I'm going to give you 8 grand to build this website and set up a support system. For a lot of people would do. We know we have a lot of people doing that because we do have a lot of people doing that. That also makes it easier for me to work out things like my margins, overheads, costs, what I have to pay staff, what I've got to pay for myself, profit, tax, all these kinds of things, which I'll go into a little bit. But it changes your perception again on what you should be delivering when you think about costs times 3, Something that costs you $1,000, you should be charging 3 grand for.
Yeah, completely. I mean, because if you're going too close to your cost levels, you're not going to be able to sustain that.
No margin, no mission.
Yeah, completely. And your business will fail.
Yeah.
Not only from the fact that on a financial level you're going to be struggling, but also on a mental level.
Yeah.
Like if you know that you're scraping the barrel every single month,
Yep.
then you're not going to have the motivation to keep going, because you're like, well, what's the point? I'm putting in all this effort. I'm not getting enough back.
Yeah.
I can't grow because I don't have enough capital to do that.
Yeah.
So why do I continue?
Yeah.
So you need that buffer. You need that extra there to not only live by and to keep your business running, but you also need the capital there to grow your business and make it more profitable,
Absolutely.
more useful to your customers.
You can't continue to help people if you're not in business, you know, and if you're not, and that's the same for anything. That's the same for like courses, for example. I think a lot of people go, oh, well, you know, I can charge less for it because it's only my time. I'm like, okay, it's not just the time on you creating the course. You're right. Once it's written, it's done, but there's time that you have to sell it, market it, make amendments, communicate with people at any time. Roughly 10% of your time is going to be taking up with support queries. If you've got 100 people doing your course, that's 10 people needing support, you know. So there's a huge amount of effort that needs to go into delivering a course. Only recently, we realized that one of our customers needed to double the price of their course, and it went up to about $3,000. And even then, we're thinking, does that give us enough time? Because the problem is, the more products you sell, the higher your costs are.
Yeah.
Now, for a lot of things like ebooks and courses, you're right that's lower. However, people still need support.
Yes.
You know, you need to continue that education. You have to update things like books and stuff. You know, they get out of date, so you've got to rewrite them and rewrite passages. So there's an enormous amount in your pricing model that you have to think, well, if someone buys this, am I going to be able to still be in business in 12 months' time and still help them?
Yeah.
You know, don't be afraid to cut back massively on what you're delivering if you can make sure that you can continue to deliver it to 10 other people in the future, you know?
Yeah. And I think that as you grow and as you get more people in, you have to do a hell of a lot more work to get those more people in.
Yeah.
So you have more advertising costs.
Yeah.
You also have more time spent on just awareness building.
Yeah.
And all of that goes into, I mean, if you think about it, you could be earning whatever doing a job for someone else per hour.
Yeah.
So why is it any different in your own business when you're sitting there
100%.
writing a blog post or in forums chatting to people and building awareness?
Yeah.
It's still the same thing. Your time is still money.
Yeah.
So just because it's your own business, why are you giving away your time for free?
Absolutely. And this is the biggest mistake I think people make, as they go, how much should I charge? And I think actually you should be thinking about how much time should you be spending on this.
Yeah.
A lot of people think, well, I've got all the time in the world and I haven't got any money. And it's flipped. You have more likely the chance to earn more money. You have got 24 hours a day. And even that, at most, 10 hours of it, you can be productive.
Yeah.
That's like on an incredible day where everything goes right. Realistically, you've probably got about 6 productive hours a day.
Yeah.
2 of which are going to be taking up with menial bullshit tasks that add nothing to the business. 2 of which are going to be around finding new customers and growing it. And 2 of which are going to be delivering anything to the customer. That's not a lot of time.
Yeah.
That's 10 hours a week to deliver stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So you have to charge appropriately for your time and think, okay, well, actually, this is not going to take me 40 hours and I haven't got 40 hours. I've got maybe 2 hours I can dedicate to this, but I'm never going to get that time back, you know?
Yeah.
So just very quickly, if we look at how we decide our price first and then kind of think about, well, if I had to get someone else to deliver it, what would I do? To me, the 4 main stages of pricing that you've got to be aware of is, first of all, your pay. How much do you need to live?
Yep.
So important.
If you can't live, you can't carry on.
Like it's, and people go, oh, well, I'll keep my costs low. Fuck that. Like, just, you know, think to yourself, well, in my past job, I was on 35 grand a year. Well, I probably need to earn more than that because that was 3 years ago. So plus inflation is probably close to 40 grand. So already I need to find 40 grand for me personally.
Yeah.
I then have the costs of the project. The project costs money to get off the ground, right? It physically costs money to, even at the lowest end, set up a new server, set up a new email address, install WordPress, or set up a course, or whatever the costs are of the actual project.
Yep.
There's then also your business overheads that you'd have to pay for no matter what. Tax, rent, bills, software, platforms, anything like that.
Yep.
And finally, profit. you have to build in a profit margin.
Yeah, you do.
You know?
Yeah, and that's how your business will continue and grow.
You can help infinitely more people if you're profitable, and you can then expand it out. And I think people go, well, I should be doing stuff at the lower end because I'm not experienced. I don't think we've got time to go into that on that particular episode, but you will help more people if you are profitable.
Yeah.
That's basically the case.
Most definitely. Yeah, because one, you'll be able to continue.
Yeah.
Two, your business will grow and you'll be able to offer more and more value.
Yeah.
And three, you will have the mindset and motivation to want to keep giving and want to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And there's a huge thing about positivity and mindset.
Massively.
People are drawn to positive people and to people that are motivated to go somewhere and to grow. And it will be very, very apparent and very obvious if you don't have that.
Yep.
And by not earning profit in your business is a huge way to knock you off your feet, and you will very readily become and appear disinterested.
Yeah.
And people won't care about what you have to say or what value you have to offer.
Well, this is because we'll actually come on to this a little bit in the content report, but this problem with pricing often reflects that people have a problem with pricing, don't have a clear enough vision of where they want the business to go. They think they price for the business as it is today.
Yeah, okay.
They don't value what they know enough today, and they don't value enough what they know about in the future.
Yeah.
So for me to be able to continue delivering courses, I have to charge $1,500 just for the course. And I have to charge $200 a month for the coaching, because if I want to continue doing that and continue helping people, I've got to have something to use. I've got to have resources, you know.
Yep.
So in terms of when it comes to pricing, you can be very, very pragmatic and think about costs times 3. Start with a decent number, know how much you want to earn per customer, and break it down into those 4 areas of cost of the project, the overhead, profit, and your own pay.
Yep.
But just as James said, there's another half of the coin, which is your mindset has to be that of, if I'm able to charge more, I'm able to continue doing what I'm doing. If I do what I do and I love it, more people will be drawn to me, and therefore I'll make more sales.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy when you think of it like that. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
I think I want to come back to this around things like not scaring off your customers. I think we talked about it a bit.
Yeah, let's save that for maybe next week.
Yeah.
Let's do that next week.
All right, let's do that next week.
Okay.
But yeah, pricing, man, I think people overcomplicate it.
They do, and they look at it backwards.
Yeah.
So
they do. Yeah.
I think as long as you're starting off with the value first that you deliver, and how much you want to earn in general, and then earn per customer, and then start breaking it down there from your costs and how much, and the kind of triple that on top of that, then that's a much better way of looking at it, and a much better position to leave yourself in or put yourself in to grow from there.
Well, I mean, let's move on to the content report.
Cool.
If you're struggling with a lot of this, I recommend reading The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. So The E-Myth is about the entrepreneur myth, basically, by Michael Gerber, is about how many people are technicians and they set up a business because they get, like, the example he uses in The E-Myth Revisited, which you don't have to have read The E-Myth to read The E-Myth Revisited. Is about how this woman sets up a pie shop, and she's incredible at making pies, but she never has any time or money because she spends all her time making pies and selling pies, and now she hates this thing that she set up, right?
Right, yeah.
So how do you break that cycle? How do you break the cycle of delivering the work? And at a high level, it's about working on the business rather than in the business. This is I've read the E-Myth once. We've even interviewed Michael Gerber on another podcast. The E-Myth Revisited, I think, is so vital to people who want to run any kind of business, because it removes you from the idea of thinking, well, what do I deliver to the customer, to what should I deliver for my business so my business can continue delivering to the customer. Right. Huge difference. And it turns out that hiring people, charging enough money, getting all your processes in place is all a mindset thing. And it goes through these incredibly pragmatic steps on being able to break the cycle of, you know, not earning enough money, but also not having enough time. And like that thing of like, well, if I work 10 hours today and I didn't make enough money, I'll work 12 hours tomorrow, and then 14 hours. And you end up working yourself into a grave. And I think, well, you might as well just have a job then.
Yeah.
Like, what's the difference?
Yeah.
You know, so it basically teaches you how to build these businesses with the resources and tools that we have now available to us, which make it much, much easier to scale and grow your business and give you more time back, you know?
Cool.
Yeah, very, very, very cool book.
Yeah, it sounds really good.
Yeah, so The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. How about yourself, man?
A little different on my one. I was having a little look through the Tubik Studio blog, which is a design agency. They've got some really, really good stuff on there, actually. And one of the articles that stood out was 9 effective tips on visual hierarchy.
Interesting.
So this is basically how you design your website and how people kind of scan through and also kind of the use of white space, the use of fonts and colours, and also kind of matching that all to your business goals.
Yeah.
They've got some really, really decent stuff on the Tubik blog,
that's cool.
actually.
Yeah, I know Tubik. Yeah, they've got some good stuff. That's
they do. But yeah, it's just really nicely kind of put. It's very kind of easy to follow.
Yeah.
And just goes through the kind of basic things that you need to do in order to have a very kind of slick, usable website.
Yeah.
Because I see a lot of websites out there that there are a lot of website builders.
Yeah.
That literally include every single function with them.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of people getting like confused of like, you know, I've got all of this to play with.
Yeah.
Do I throw it all onto one page?
Yeah.
And more doesn't always equal better.
Yeah.
In fact, it rarely does.
Do you know nosidebar.com?
No.
So Brian Gardner, who set up Studio Press, which is a WordPress theme repository, he has a website called No Sidebar where he talks about kind of blog design and web design in general. Kind of people have forgotten that it's about moving people through stages and like, well, I'm going to put 2 adverts here. I'm going to put a subscribe box here. I have the main content here. On the left, I have a chat box. And up here, I'm going to have the menu. And then I have a sub. I'm like, just what? Whoa. Books aren't written like this.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's it. People forget. People think that websites are like that. People treat websites like they treat PowerPoint presentations.
Yeah.
And people usually put everything. They basically copy and paste a Word doc into a PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, that's insane.
Yeah.
And that's not how you present. And likewise with websites, you can't just fling everything onto the page and expect people to know and to follow what you want them to do, because it's too much. It's information overload.
Yeah, there's this balance of like self-navigation, I think.
Yeah.
That there is an element where I want people to be able to move around the site and do what they need to do, but at the same time, someone who visits my blog and who is a lifelong reader and has been reading it for years is going to act very, very differently from someone who's clicking on it for the first time.
Yeah.
I have to be really clear about who is on that post. And if I have adverts for products and then adverts for signing up and adverts for this and more content and a menu and all this other stuff, I think it puts off people who are new.
Yeah.
And chances are they're not going to become a lifelong reader. Whereas if I go, do you know what? We've got a long time to grow this relationship. Here's the post, here's the content or the landing page or the service page. I only want you to do one thing on this, which is basically find out more and take it to the next step.
Yep.
Not give you a suite of... It's not a menu at a restaurant.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah. I kind of see a website as a story that leads people through.
Yeah.
So your homepage should literally be an intro.
Yeah.
That's all it should be.
Yeah.
And then the next page should be a kind of a start here. It's like this is kind of like a welcome.
Yeah.
And then you go into that, and then from there you can then go into, if you'd like to find out a bit more, here's a lot of other stuff on the site, like the top picks from around the site. And then if you want to dig in deeper, and each next page that they go through, that they filter through to, is a deeper level and offering more and more options.
And there's an element of like when people try to put too much on just the page in general.
Yep.
Like they're like, oh, well, I want people to sign up, but I also want them to see the blog post and the featured image and the menu.
Yep.
And they try to cram. First of all, above the fold doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
People use mobile phones. I wouldn't worry about it. But they try to cram so much in like one area. It's like, just don't worry about it. Like, just get one point across.
Yep.
Rather than trying to have 100, you know, because it shows that you have no real idea on what you want to focus on, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I usually think of like, what journey do I want them to go on?
Yeah.
And what's the end result that I want them on each page? What's the end result that I want
Yeah.
from it?
Yeah.
And if you have that one clear end result, then everything should point towards that.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's a really, really good article actually.
Interesting.
Kind of like an intro to it all.
Yeah, it's good.
You can go more in depth on all of the points there. But yeah, very good.
Sweet.
So yeah, there we go.
Cool. There we go. Right then. Well, that's about
That was a bit
for-
short. We were planning to keep both of last week's and this week's episodes to half an hour. How are we doing on this one?
This is 34 minutes long.
Oh, well, that's better. Look, last week we were pretty much an hour.
Last week I was like, I guarantee this will be a short episode at 30 minutes long. It was fucking like 46 minutes long. Well done, Mike. Yeah. So this week I didn't say anything because I was like, it'll be as long as it needs to be. But yeah, cool guys. All right, well, thank you very much for listening and all the show notes and everything.
Yep, as usual, they'll be up on the Brand Snack blog.
And that's at brandsnack.co.
It is.
Sweet. And yeah, as for that, I will see you next week.
Cool. See you later, guys.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
If you liked this episode, please subscribe to the Sell Your Brand show on iTunes or your favourite podcast app and leave a rating and a review. It makes us feel all warm and fuzzy inside when we hear we're not just talking rubbish. If you have a question you'd like us to answer on the show, drop us an email to podcast@sellyourbrandshow.com and we'll feature it in a future episode.